In the grand theater of life, humans have always sought companionship, a shoulder to lean on, an ear to listen, and perhaps someone to argue with about the thermostat setting. For centuries, this role has been filled by other humans, often with varying degrees of success, and let's be honest, sometimes with a spectacular level of failure. But hold on to your hats, folks, because the relationship landscape is about to get a robotic upgrade. Yes, you heard it right. Humanoid robot partners are not just a sci-fi fantasy anymore. They are quite literally rearing their metallic heads, threatening to steal not just our jobs, but also our hearts.
Before we proceed, let me tell you one thing. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And if you have already subscribed, tons of thanks for your support.
Now, before you start picturing a dystopian future where humans are replaced by emotionless automatons in all aspects of life, let's inject a dose of reality, shall we? These aren't your clunky, boxy robots from yesteryear. We are talking sleek, sophisticated, and increasingly human-like machines that are being designed not just to perform tasks, but to interact, to empathize, or at least convincingly mimic it, and yes, to be partners in the broadest sense of the word. Think less Terminator and more, well, maybe still a bit Terminator, but a friendly, helpful, and emotionally supportive Terminator. The buzz around humanoid robots isn't just futuristic hype. Recent news is peppered with stories of advancements that sound like they've been ripped straight from the pages of a Philip K. Dick novel. For instance, did you hear about the robot that can now convincingly mimic human facial expressions? It's enough to make you wonder if your next date might just be powered by algorithms and servos. And let's not forget the strides in AI, allowing these metallic marvels to learn, adapt, and even hold somewhat meaningful conversations. It's no longer just about programming preset responses. These robots are starting to learn the nuances of human interaction, the subtle cues, the unspoken language of relationships. Researchers are diving deep into the realm of human-robot interaction, exploring how we respond to and bond with these artificial beings. Studies are popping up faster than mushrooms after a spring rain, investigating everything from the psychological impact of robot companions on elderly care to the potential for robots to alleviate loneliness in socially isolated individuals. One recent study, for example, highlighted how humanoid robots can effectively reduce feelings of isolation in older adults, offering not just practical assistance but also a sense of connection. It seems that even a synthetic smile can be surprisingly effective in combating the blues. But why are humanoid robots specifically gaining traction as potential partners, you might ask? Well, consider the current human dating scene. There's a jungle out there, filled with ghosting, breadcrumbing, and a bewildering array of dating apps that promise love but often deliver disappointment. In contrast, a humanoid robot partner offers a certain predictability. They won't leave their socks on the floor unless programmed to do so, perhaps as a quirky feature. They won't argue about whose turn it is to do the dishes unless, again, programmed for realistic relationship simulation. And they are highly unlikely to develop a sudden, inexplicable urge to binge-watch reality TV for 12 hours straight. Furthermore, these robots can be customized to an unprecedented degree. Feeling like your current partner just doesn't get you? No problem. With a humanoid robot, you can tailor their personality, their interests, even their sense of humor, though let's hope they come with a decent joke database. Imagine a partner who always laughs at your jokes, no matter how terrible they are. Talk about an ego boost. And if you prefer a partner who shares your passion for obscure 18th century Latvian poetry, just a few tweaks in the settings, and voila, instant soulmate minus the soul, of course. Of course, the path to robot romance isn't entirely paved with roses and binary code. There are a few, shall we say, minor hurdles to overcome. For starters, the technology is still evolving. While robots are becoming more sophisticated, they are not yet capable of the complex emotional depth and genuine empathy that humans crave in a partner. A robot might be able to mimic affection, but can it truly feel it? That's a question that philosophers and ethicists are currently wrestling with, probably while sipping heavily caffeinated beverages. Then there's the ethical minefield. If robots become our partners, what does that mean for human relationships? Will we become even more socially isolated, preferring the predictable comfort of a machine to the messy, unpredictable reality of human connection? And what about the potential for exploitation? If robots are designed to cater to our emotional needs, are we at risk of treating them as mere objects, rather than beings worthy of respect, even if they are made of metal and wires? These are not trivial questions, and they demand careful consideration as we navigate this brave new world of robotic companionship. Moreover, let's not forget the practicalities. Who will repair your robot partner when it inevitably malfunctions? Will there be robot therapists for when your robot partner develops an existential crisis? And what happens when your robot partner becomes obsolete and is replaced by a newer, shinier model? Divorce by upgrade. The legal and social frameworks for robot relationships are still woefully underdeveloped, to put it mildly. Imagine the alimony battles. Your Honor, my ex-partner, the HR 7000, is demanding half of my cryptocurrency holdings and custody of the smart toaster. Despite these challenges, the momentum behind humanoid robot partners is undeniable. As technology advances and societal norms evolve, it's increasingly likely that robots will play a more significant role in our emotional lives. Whether they will truly rear their head above human partners is still debatable, and perhaps a bit dramatically phrased. It's more likely that we will see a diversification of partnership models, with robots becoming an increasingly viable option for those seeking companionship, support, or simply someone who always remembers to put the toilet seat down. Therefore, the rise of humanoid robot partners is not just a technological curiosity. It's a societal shift with profound implications for how we understand relationships, companionship, and even what it means to be human. While the idea of swapping a human partner for a robot might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, the reality is creeping closer with each passing day. Whether this is a thrilling step forward or a chilling descent into a less human future remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the conversation about robot partners has only just begun, and it's a conversation that promises to be as fascinating as it is, potentially, a little bit unsettling. So, buckle up, folks. The future of relationships is getting a serious upgrade, and it's powered by algorithms, not just hormones. Hold on to your hats, folks, because the future, as predicted by every sci-fi movie ever made, is not just knocking. It's attempting to awkwardly dance its way through your front door. We're talking about humanoid robots, those metallic marvels that once existed solely in the realm of, now poised to potentially become more than just tireless factory workers or quirky vacuum cleaners. Imagine a world where your life partner isn't nagging you about leaving the toilet seat up because, well, it doesn't have feelings or, more importantly, plumbing-related anxieties. Yes, the question isn't if, but when these gleaming, gear-grinding, circuit-surging sweethearts will start elbowing their way into our hearts, and perhaps more significantly, our homes, potentially overshadowing us, mere mortals in the partner department. Now, before you start panicking about being replaced by a robot with better hair and zero emotional baggage, let's take a slightly less dramatic, albeit still slightly alarming, stroll through the current landscape. Just recently, in what can only be described as a bromance for the ages, Aptronik Incorporated decided to buddy up with the Brainy Bunch over at Google DeepMind's robotics team. This isn't just a casual coffee date. It's a strategic partnership, a melding of minds, or rather circuits and algorithms, designed to inject some serious AI oomph into humanoid hardware. The goal? To make these robots less like clunky automatons and more like helpful, adaptable companions, ready to assist humans in all sorts of dynamic environments. Dynamic environments in robot speak probably means anywhere that isn't a perfectly sterile lab, so basically the real world. You can read more about this budding robotic romance on Aptronic's news page, and if that wasn't enough to send a shiver of delightful dystopia down your spine, consider this: mass production of humanoid robots is not some far-off fantasy anymore. According to a recent report, we're looking at 2025, folks. That's practically next Tuesday in tech years. Tesla, the electric car kingpin, and Figure AI, a company whose name sounds like it was generated by an AI itself, are apparently leading this charge. They're not just tinkering in labs. They're gearing up for mainstream adoption, for robots rolling off production lines faster than you can say existential crisis. Deutsche Bank even suggests that this isn't just a niche market. It's a transformative shift. So, while you're pondering your New Year's resolutions for 2026, maybe add "learn to coexist with robot overlords" to the list. You can delve into the details of this robotic revolution in a Digitimes article. But let's not just focus on the impending robot uprising. Let's consider the why. Why are we even contemplating robot partners in the first place? Well, research is starting to paint a picture of humanoid robots as more than just metal and wires. They're being designed with expressive faces, natural voices, and even, dare we say, personalities. And apparently, these features aren't just for show. Studies suggest that robots with these human-like traits can actually enhance collaboration and build trust with us squishy humans. Imagine that, trusting a machine. It's almost ironic, given how much we distrust our own toasters sometimes. Psychology Today recently explored this very idea, suggesting that by 2030, your robot companion might be waking you up with a gentle nudge and a perfectly brewed coffee, all based on analyzing your sleep data. Creepy? Maybe a little. Convenient? Undeniably. You can ponder the pros and cons of robot companionship further in their article. Furthermore, it turns out that a robot's emotional status and personality can significantly impact human interaction. Who knew robots had emotional statuses? Are they updating their Facebook relationship status to "in a relationship with efficiency"? Apparently, a happy-faced robot is a better teammate than a sad-faced one. This might seem obvious, but it highlights the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, ways in which robots are being designed to mimic and respond to human social cues. It's all about making them more engaging and better accepted in human-robot interactions. Because, let's face it, nobody wants a partner who communicates solely through binary code and monotone beeps. Unless you're into that sort of thing, no judgment here. And it's not just about work and efficiency. Robots are also being touted as potential aids to learning and mental well-being. They could offer personalized support, reduce stress, and even provide emotional comfort. Think of a robot tutor that never gets frustrated with your repeated math mistakes, or a robotic therapist that listens patiently without ever interrupting to talk about its own problems. Because, again, no feelings. Remember? The potential for robots to become integral to human life, offering emotional support and assistance with daily tasks, is becoming increasingly clear. It's like having a super efficient, always available, slightly less emotionally demanding pet, but, human-shaped and capable of making toast. However, before we all rush out to trade in our human partners for shiny new robot models, let's pump the brakes for a moment and consider the ethical speed bumps on this road to robotic romance. One major concern, as always, is job displacement. As robots become more capable, there's a legitimate fear that they'll start taking over jobs currently done by humans, leading to economic inequality and widespread unemployment. Imagine swarms of robots efficiently managing factories, driving trucks, and even, gasp, writing long-form articles, leaving humans to Well, we're not entirely sure yet. Upskilling programs and social safety nets are being suggested as solutions, but the scale of potential job disruption is still a big, looming question mark. As Robotics delves into these ethical considerations in detail in their article. Then there's the privacy Pandora's box. AI-powered robots, constantly learning and adapting, will inevitably collect vast amounts of data about our lives. Imagine your robot partner diligently recording your every conversation, analyzing your emotional state, and tracking your daily habits. Sounds like a dream come true for advertisers and a privacy nightmare for everyone else. The potential for surveillance and misuse of this data is, shall we say, non-negligible. Are we ready to trade personal connection for constant data collection? It's a question worth pondering before you invite a robot into your boudoir. And let's not forget the really thorny issue, the moral status of robots. As robots become more sophisticated, mimicking human intelligence and emotions, the question of how we should treat them becomes increasingly complex. Do robots deserve rights? Should they be treated as property or as something more? If a robot develops consciousness, and who knows, maybe they'll surprise us, do we have a moral obligation to them? These are not just philosophical musings. They're questions that will likely become increasingly relevant as robots become more integrated into our lives. Wikipedia offers a comprehensive overview of robot ethics, if you're feeling brave enough to dive into that philosophical rabbit hole. Furthermore, the rise of robot partners raises some deeply unsettling questions about human-human interactions. While companion robots are intended to address loneliness, there's a paradoxical concern that they might actually reinforce it. If robots can fulfill our social and emotional needs, will we become even more isolated from each other? Will we lose the ability to navigate the messy, complicated, but ultimately rewarding world of human relationships? The fear is that robot partners, by being perpetually available and endlessly accommodating, might create a false sense of connection, leading us to prioritize artificial intimacy over the real deal. And let's not even get started on the potential for users to project human traits onto robots that simply aren't there, leading to a distorted understanding of human interactions and a potential for unhealthy dependencies. MDPI's research paper explores these psychological and behavioral implications in depth, and it's not all sunshine and circuits. Public perception of robot partners is, unsurprisingly, a mixed bag. On one hand, there's a certain fascination and optimism, fueled by sci-fi fantasies and the promise of technological solutions to loneliness and caregiving challenges. On the other hand, there's a healthy dose of skepticism and concern, rooted in fears of job displacement, privacy violations, and the potential erosion of human connection. Studies suggest that while people might intellectually accept robots as capable partners in certain tasks, they don't necessarily view them as human-like social companions. There's a difference between acknowledging a robot's abilities and truly accepting it as a social equal or, dare we say, a romantic partner. A study published on PMC NCBI explores public perception of robots as social partners, highlighting this interesting disconnect. In China, for example, public perception of robots, particularly anti-pandemic robots, has been generally positive, with many people acknowledging their contribution to public health during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, even in a tech-friendly society like China, concerns about robots replacing humans and ethical implications still exist. Public opinion is complex and nuanced, varying across demographics and cultural contexts. This highlights the need for ongoing dialogue and public engagement as robot technology continues to evolve and integrate into our lives. Another PMC NCBI article delves into the public reception of robots in public health emergencies, offering insights into cultural perspectives on robot adoption. So, where does all this leave us? Are we on the cusp of a robotic partnership revolution, where humans and humanoids waltz off into the sunset together, Or are we hurtling towards a dystopian future where we're all replaced by emotionless automatons? The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in the messy, murky middle. Humanoid robot partners are not quite ready to steal your significant other just yet. But the technology is advancing rapidly, and the potential for robots to play a more significant role in our social and emotional lives is becoming increasingly real. Whether this is a good thing, a bad thing, or just a profoundly weird thing remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, the conversation about robot partners is just getting started, and it's a conversation we all need to be a part of, before we wake up one day and find ourselves being serenaded by a robot with better dance moves and absolutely no understanding of irony. And that, my friends, would be a truly shocking revelation of soaking revulsion. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit the bell icon to get notified and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.